thank you for joining me for the first installment of Glissading in Shadows. I'm your host, House here. So, as an introduction, to get a little bit more well acquainted with me, I'm going to be sharing just a little bit of my background and how make myself more credible and to back myself up when speaking of the topics that are soon to come. So, I actually began my study in the occult science back in 2010, and I started around September, October, and I've been an active practicing occultist for, at the time of this recording, 12 years of consistent trial and error, all primarily done by trial and error. I haven't really been one to be one of reading books, and did not really have a mentor or a guiding figure up until 2017 when I met my mentor Russell, and he taught me up until his passing in 2019. And ever since his passing, primarily I've just been a lone wolf, studying as I go, and just taking in anything and everything I can, because I have a certification in Vedic astrology, and I also have a certification in synastry astrology and marriage astrology, alongside another certification of excellence for nakshatras, which is also part of Vedic astrology. I practice both astrologies, Western and Vedic, alongside being a tarot reader, oracle card reader. I also do workings with gemstones and crystals, and I also do botanicals, and I also have a lot of spiritual relationships with my primary matron deity being the goddess Hel from Norse mythology. And as long as I've been an occultist, I've actually have had the strong belief that you can do anything you deem fit, but no matter what you do to get to that point, no matter what the outcome is, good, bad, dreadful, exactly, or complete opposite, you're always the one at fault. And that's something I stick by. Because at the end of the day, all that matters is how your life is, and how you live it. Everything else is not even the biggest concern. But anyway, for the expectation of the podcast, now, there are going to be some subjects which may make you kind of think, what in the world? Why is he glorifying something that is completely seen stereotypically as not, to society standards of good or admirable? Well, that's another quality. Another quality that this podcast seeks to also demolish is that this podcast is going to encourage and inspire you to be able to see in a neutral standpoint, because no two sides are good and no two sides are bad. It's just how it is. And in order to best understand the messages and the entire point of each episode with the material, the key thing is to be able to see for how it is. Not good, not bad, neutral, and accept it. Because there are going to be plenty of times where you may think, oh, what in the no? Or, no, that's the good guy. He's doing the good thing. He's doing the right thing. He's the blessed one. No. Not even that. No. This podcast, if you were to do it with it that way, you're going to completely limit yourself and not capture the real core message of it. Which this podcast It's going to definitely go against the norm. It's going to be pushing back against what society deems as what it should be. Because this podcast, the sole purpose is to uplift the exiled and pretty much slandered name of so many dark goddess figures like Lilith, Hel, Nyx, Hecate, and so many more that have been unjustly treated, disgraced, and just unacceptably spoken of. That is going to end, and with this podcast is going to seek that it stops. Now, I can completely understand too that in this specific type of study of the occult and belief system, there is no definitive answer. But, however, there is one thing that is definitive. Being able to give recognition and respect, and being able to accept another viewpoint, especially if it's a goddess figure. Because nowadays, the goddess figures have been mistreated and just treated in a way that is just unacceptable, and that has to change. As well, the podcast is actually going to be uplifting primarily women, because there is way too many innocent women, young women, middle-aged women, mothers, and elderly women that are being mistreated and actually put through unnecessary stress, mental abuse, emotional abuse, and suffering domestic violence. Now, in future episodes, I will be talking about the point-blank truth of for an example, woman is what's keeping our human race going and alive. That's good enough for me to pretty much treat it like a diamond. Keep it simple. And I'll be saying that a lot too. Just keep it simple. Because the more simple you keep this, the less headache you're going to get. And the less headache you get, the more happier your life's going to be. But, of course, as well, giving the empowerment back to the individual is the other key point of this podcast. Being able to see an adversity or an opposition come towards you, attempt to hold you back, and you just respond with, nope, not feeling it, scooch your touche out of the way, and keep going towards where you want to go. Because modern day, this society and this world, stereotypically, wants to hold you back, wants you to submit, wants you to do what they want to do instead of what you want to do. And that can't happen, because this is your life. This is your choice. And you decide what's best for you. No one else, and nobody else. Before I conclude the first episode, I do want to offer you a challenge to do. And every episode, I will give you a challenge of some kind that you do on your own, and you do it for you, not for me. Because, again, this is all about empowering you first. So, your challenge. Take a look at where you stand currently, and what you have accomplished, what you have not accomplished, and what you would like to accomplish in the future. Write those 3 things down in a list. Prioritize the top 5 things on each one of those sections. For the ones that you have accomplished, what was your driving force to accomplish them? What made you go get off your tushy and get it? What actually made you feel, I have the means to do this? Who inspired you? How long ago was this? And why? What's the big deal about saying whatever this is as an accomplishment? What makes it? What you have not accomplished, why haven't you done it? Who's holding you back? How much longer are you going to wait until you get it? Where is this accomplishment on the 3D plane? And how much longer is it going to take you to accomplish it? And for you and the accomplishment in the future, what are they? How are you going to get them? Why? And who is going to help you get to there? And when do you believe you can get them? Answer those questions as your challenge this week. Throughout the series of this podcast, once I'm able to understand how to actually work this completely, because I am new here and I have no idea what I'm doing with this recording system, I will also take in like questions that are sent in and maybe even have like a guest come on the podcast if I can figure out how to work this, but in all due time. So, thank you for tuning in to the first Glissade of Shadows, and I'll see you next time.